The Credentials Fetcher daemon, developed by AWS, is an open source project under the Apache 2 license. This release solves a 10-year long-standing challenge affecting domain-connected Linux machines. Until now, Linux users couldn't use Microsoft Active Directory (gMSA) and thus have missed out on improved security and flexibility that gMSA offers over standard service accounts. With the release of the credentials fetcher daemon, organizations now gain all of gMSA's benefits without being tied to Windows-based hosts. Let's look at three scenarios where we could use gMSA. In the first scenario on your screen, a Microsoft .NET application is running in Docker containers with the host on a Microsoft Active Directory domain joined EC2 Linux server. The Linux application server is added as member of gMSA group. The gMSA account is granted permission to the domain joined Microsoft SQL Server, or you could even use RDS for SQL Server database. And RDS is a relational database service for managed databases in AWS. Similarly, in scenario 2, on the right hand side, a Microsoft .NET application is running in Docker containers and Microsoft SQL Server running in its own Docker container with the host on a Microsoft AD domain joined EC2 Linux servers. The Linux host server of the application container and SQL Server container are added as member of gMSA group. The gMSA account is granted permission to the SQL Server instance database running in the container. Basically, what is happening is that the .NET application is running in the Docker container and Docker container is running on the Linux servers, which is connected through the gMSA to the SQL Server and AD. Similarly, in scenario 3, a .NET application is running on EC2 ECS cluster hosted on a Microsoft AD domain. The Linux servers within this ECS cluster are added as member of the gMSA group. The gMSA account is granted permission to the domain joined SQL Server or even RDS. So Linux containers have become a key modernization destination for the users running .NET workloads. gMSA for Linux containers will help organizations and the overall Microsoft administrator and developer community to access AD from applications and services hosted on Linux containers using the service account authentication model. And as I mentioned earlier, gMSA is a managed account that provides automatic password management, service principal SPN management, and the ability to delegate management to administrator over multiple servers or instances. This unblocks a range of modernization use cases around identity using Microsoft AD, such as connecting .NET Core applications hosted on Linux containers with SQL Server authentication over Microsoft AD and securely opening up access to network resources from applications running with service account. Based on all of these capabilities and usefulness, the three use cases which we just saw, Credentials Fetcher is positioned to be extended into services such as ECS and even EKS. I hope this was useful. In the subsequent videos, I'm going to demo you how to actually write the code in PowerShell and also in some of the CLI commands to connect this gMSA with your Linux servers. If you have any comments or feedback, please put them in the comments. Thank you.